Okay, Rob back here. I'm in the living room here. Rick, this is kind of the area that he spends the most of his free time in the house at. So typically in most houses you've got a couch or love seat or sofa or in some kind of a sitting unit and a television of sorts. Short of taking this stuff and rearranging it and so forth, like in Rick's case, all I would do, the biggest thing I see here, and it's so funny because when we were talking, I've known Rick a while. He's just really talking about all the things he's going to need to do to this house before he gets it ready for sale. I'm walking in this house and within 10 minutes, I can say, you know what, we can spend 4 or 5 hours, put this thing on the market, and start getting people here. It doesn't need a ton of stuff. And I'll look around. If I see any other things, I'll point them out to you. But my first impression, just having done this so many times, is this is not bad at all. I would increase the smell. And I think in this room, the biggest thing that pops out to me is it seems a little cluttery. I would have him reduce the cluttery stuff. To me, you want to create the impression that things are bigger than they are. Okay, everybody does that. Okay, every open house you ever go to, every realtor that does an open house, they'll try to do this. It's just house selling 101. Okay, and while it doesn't make the biggest impact for us because we have other tricks up our sleeve, or maybe I should just say strategies. They're not really tricks. It's just different. It's different because we're dealing with a different clientele. But it's always good just to have more open space. So, for example, may move this bookcase, may consolidate some things. Definitely take the clutter off of the table. I would certainly recommend this table be up against the wall more. Everything else is pretty plain. The plants or any kind of things up here, that's neutral enough. You could probably leave that. I went through a house one time. You wouldn't believe this. I wish I could have had it on video. But unlike Rick, who, he's a musician and he loves his bluegrass and jazz and stuff, and he has some CDs on the wall, more the bachelor look. I went through a house one time where the lady was a spoon collector, believe it or not, and the husband was a big Denver Broncos fan. And so Denver Broncos, if you don't know, their colors are blue and orange. Okay, so he decided that this area of the house, he should have a solid orange and blue contrasting wall because he had his big TV and they were going to have their games and so forth. But obviously there was a negotiation between him and his wife, and she wanted to make sure her spoon collection was very displayed prominently. So what ended up happening is you literally had a solid blue and a solid orange wall with probably, I'm not kidding, at least 2,000 spoons all over the walls. Okay, now they were more than excited to get us to that point of the house because they wanted us to see how great their house was, and they never realized that the reason they might not have been selling the property is because they were too focused on their stuff and their opinions and their likes and dislikes than putting it into the palette of another person. And I know in this case, I was actually looking to buy the house for myself to live in, and we ended up going with another home because I looked at that and I went, okay, get rid of the spoons, but we're going to have to paint these walls. There's no way I'm going to live with those colors. It's awful. As much as I like the Broncos, I'm not that devoted. So it actually worked against him. So there's a kind of a takeaway of that is you want to have neutral. Remember what I said at the beginning. You want neat and clean, white and nice. Okay, and this is pretty okay. Maybe a little wall scrubbing, clean off the walls a little bit, do a good dusting. Again, we've covered cleaning. That's kind of a given. But I think we're fine. Not a ton of art in the wall, and we're good. Definitely windows. You want to have the windows really cleaned well. And the thing to keep in mind there is window wells. Make sure those window wells are cleaned well too. These are actually pretty good windows for this old of a home. All right, well, I'm about out of battery here, so I'm going to recharge, and I'll see you in the next video.